If you've spent any time on the internet over the last decade and a half, you've probably seen something to do with TF2 before, be it a song, meme, animation, or maybe even that one god-awful weed soldier profile. At this point, it's now immortal, and I want to keep it that way. This game's accompanied me for my entire life. The communities, the creators, the artists. That's why after all these hits, after all the neglect from Valve and the wider world, we just can't forget about this game. But this isn't just another video about the history of the game. Lord knows there's enough of them, like oh my god, please find something new to do. This is about what it actually means to me, and probably a lot of you, and to see that, you've got to go to the start. My start with the game, 2015, and when I stepped in, it was like a whole new world. I was completely blown away when I first stepped into 2Fort, and not because of the amazing architecture or the postmodern expressionism. I was amazed because I never seen anything like this in a game before. This is all from memory, so I can't tell you everything, but there is two main focal points. A massive truck embedded into the skybox, and f***ing G-Man just walking through a 2Fort bridge and insta-killing me. Dude, I was sold. I came back to that server day after day, seeing different things every time. The guys doing these things were my childhood superheroes, and it roused a curiosity inside of me. I wanted to learn how to mod the game myself, and so I hopped onto my dad's laptop and got my first experience in PC TF2. But when I opened up the game, it wasn't what I expected. It was different in the worst way possible. It was normal. My Xbox has died long since, those servers too. But there's one imprint they left upon me, one little impact they had that would soon prove to be irreparable. They got me into TF2 YouTube. Now YouTube's always been a weird place. Looking at the site today, it's clearly not changed one bit. But that's what drew me in, and as a child in 2016, I was already on it constantly, and with my newfound spur of initiative, all I wanted was more TF2 content. But not just any content, Gmod animations. I was obsessed. So, like any kid, I want to replicate. But Gmod costs money, and my parents just bought me Fallout 4 on release, and so my budget was clear, and there was no way I could get it. And so, I got creative. Enter Source Filmmaker, the archaic laughingstock of the animation world. No. That's how I started making stuff online. I'd spend entire days tweaking tiny parts of race with no purpose, just because it felt so cool. Soldier Pog. I would make no progress after hours upon hours of work, but that didn't matter. All I could see was myself taking steps to becoming one of the greats. Unfortunately, I used my full name in the account, and I know even sharing one frame of this thing is gonna get creepy guys showing up outside my house. Thankfully, I did save a few posters. It's been a weird journey on the way to becoming a YouTuber, after watching these kind of videos for my entire life. And usually, you imagine changes like this to happen over months, even years. Mine happen in seconds. On a late night, I was going through a random server on a personal account, not associated with my channel whatsoever. That's important. There was a couple of guys there, most somehow younger than me. We got into a conversation about TF2bers, my specialised subject, and of course the big boys came up, Octo, Fish Tank, Lazy Purple, and me? I'll remember that message till the day I die. If you're into that kind of Fish Tank style, I'd check out Icy Spicy. He's been one of my favourites for a while now. I was in awe. The way I felt and feel about dudes like Fish Tank, Octo, and Maxo. Someone felt about me. It was weird seeing myself be brought up in a discussion right beside guys who moulded my childhood and a large chunk of my adolescence. Because that's truly why I'm here. I think it's pretty obvious to anyone from the outside this channel isn't breaking any generational indigence, but that's not an issue for me. If I can place the impact that my idols had upon me onto my fans, even just one person out there, these years of fruitless creation will have all been worth it. It's the stupidest things like seeing art made of the character, which I drew in GIMP in maybe 2 minutes. It's an infinite pool of inspiration I can reach to whenever I gotta pick up slack in my projects, even though those projects are steered far away from the animations that got me into the scene in the first place. Now, despite what I expected, I never managed to reach the level of my peers as a child with 50 hours in SFM, but all this stint of animation did was reinforce my respect for creators. It also planted a seed in my mind that I want to be a YouTuber one day. My age has doubled since, but I still haven't been able to shake it. It's insane what creators have been able to do with the limited tools given to them. SFM almost seems like it's been meticulously manufactured to cause as much pain to the user as possible. And to be honest, I have no clue why anybody uses it. Nearly every single animation program out there overshadows it in literally every regard. And thanks to guys like Hiza, you can download every single model asset animation within Blender, which is also free and on Steam. So why? Well, for me, it's a feeling of loyalty. This is a program that started nearly every TF2 fan's animation journey. It's like an old dog you just don't have the heart to finally put down. And for that intransigence, I have to respect the animation community of both Gmod and SFM. But what brings these animations to life isn't just the video, it's the voices. They all fit so well with the characters. These lines are so ingrained into my mind that I can instantly decipher if a replica is being used. But that's no shame to the community voice actors out there. The work people like Muse Trigger and James McGuinn did for the TF2 community is severely underappreciated. In fact, another one of the great moments of this YouTube journey is the one time that McGuinn commented on an admittedly video of mine. Soldier is one of two classes that has a disproportionate amount of reward to difficulty. Knowing that the guy who brought life to what was basically my equivalent of TV watched a video of mine has kept me going through this YouTube track. So shout out to James if you ever do see this. Because up until recently, I never really acknowledged the people behind the voices. They just merged with the characters for me. That was gonna have to change though, whether I liked it or not.
Fox 64's Peppy Hare and Andros, as well as Team Fortress 2's Soldier, has passed away today due to complications from the recent viral outbreak. And this was originally reported by the Red Table.
I was shook when I heard about Rick's death, because to me, it was the death of the soldier in all those little animations I watched throughout my entire life. I wasn't ready for that. Reminded of all this, I went to rewatch some of those old animations, nearly a year ago now. I wasn't expecting it to mean so much to me, and to be honest, I got a little emotional. I guess I was sitting there for 3 hours, but really, the time just blended together, with all possible emotions just swirling around my consciousness. These animations are timestamps of my childhood. I was a completely different person when I watched these, that change being out of my control. And when it got to expiration date, I felt different. It was an emotion, a response that up to that point I'd never felt before. Looking back, I think it was nostalgia. I'm still a kid, right? Like, I don't have to worry about growing up yet. I don't finish school to the future. It's not the future yet. I'm older, but I feel no different. Going around some absurdly hard classes, feeling like 3 toddlers in a trench coat, pretend to be a YouTuber, musician. Like, fuck, man, even an adult. Seeing videos like Live and Let Spy all these years later made me realise that I was grown up, and I wasn't ready for that. I spent my entire life thinking that adulthood would just be this sudden change in me, so I'd wake up one day and just fucking transform into a man. I'm almost embarrassed of the power that these stupid little animations hold over me. Like, if you showed these to a normal person, I don't even know what they'd say. I've never shown them to anybody else. I'd watch them all the time as a kid, but anytime my parents came near, I'd switch it over to some science videos, some shit. So they could keep up the illusion as the kid that they wanted me to be. These goofy little YouTube videos mean so much more to me than I ever could have imagined when I first watched them. Each one marks different times in my life, but in hindsight, I'm glad I had this experience. I can't help but feel happy whenever I rewatch these little machinimas, because they let me pretend I'm a kid again. And if a video can make me feel like that, even just for a few moments, I think that's good enough. Thank you very much for watching. Fucking watch other videos. Most of them are shit. The Banny one was good. The PS4 one was good. Yeah, they're the only ones that are close to this. I might make other cool videos again. Probably not. It's really hard to make, and this is gonna get like 500 views. So, thank you. Good luck. Boodaloop.